Christmas was coming.
I, Lottie Brooks, could barely contain my excitement. The thought of twinkling lights, mountains of presents, and enough candy canes to last till next Christmas made my heart do a happy dance.
Mum had already hung the advent calendar. It was shaped like Santa, which is kind of funny when you think about it. Why does Santa need an advent calendar? He already knows what day Christmas is.
Dad was busy untangling a string of fairy lights. They looked a bit like a giant sparkly knot monster. He kept muttering something about gremlins in the attic.
I knew this Christmas was going to be epic.
First things first, the Christmas tree. It's the centerpiece of our holiday decorations, the symbol of our festive spirit, and the one thing that brings the whole family together. Every year, we embark on a quest to find the perfect tree, and this year was no different.
We piled into the car, excitement buzzing in the air, and drove to the tree farm. The drive was filled with holiday music, laughter, and the occasional argument over which Christmas song was the best. Dad said we were getting a real tree this year. He was adamant about it, reminiscing about the smell of pine and the authenticity of a real tree. He said it would make Christmas feel more genuine. I hoped that meant it would talk. I imagined a tree that could share stories of Christmases past, a tree that could sing carols with us. Turns out real trees don't talk. My dreams of a magical talking tree were dashed, but I was still excited about the adventure. They do, however, shed needles like crazy. Every time we moved it, a shower of needles would fall, creating a green carpet on the floor.
We picked out the wonkiest, most lopsided tree there. It had character, we all agreed. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. It kind of looked like it wanted a hug. Dad wasn't too impressed. He kept muttering about how it was going to fit in the living room.
Back home, decorating the tree was a family affair. We pulled out boxes of ornaments, each one with its own story and memory attached.
Mum kept straightening the baubles I hung up. She had a specific vision for the tree, and my haphazard placement didn't quite fit.
Dad managed to tangle himself in the fairy lights, again. It was a tradition at this point, and we all had a good laugh.
Our dog Buster kept trying to eat the candy canes hanging from the lower branches. We had to keep a close eye on him to make sure he didn't get a sugar rush. It's perfect, I declared, admiring our very unique Christmas tree. It wasn't the most beautiful tree, but it was filled with love and memories.
Mum just sighed, a mix of exhaustion and contentment on her face, and handed me another bauble. Here, try to hang this one a little higher, she said with a smile. And so, our wonky, lopsided tree became the heart of our Christmas celebrations. A reminder that perfection isn't necessary for something to be perfect.
Next on our Christmas to-do list, reindeer food.
I mixed oats, glitter, and sprinkles in a big bowl. This will make Rudolph's nose extra sparkly, I told Buster. He wagged his tail and tried to lick the bowl. While Mum was distracted by a phone call, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I sprinkled the reindeer food all over the backyard. Now Rudolph will definitely find our house, I announced proudly.
Suddenly I heard Mum shriek, "Lottie, where's Buster?"
I spun around and to my horror saw our dog disappearing down the street, covered in glitter and trailing a trail of reindeer food. Oops!
The day before Christmas Eve, our town square was hosting a carol singing event.
I love carols, especially when they involve cookies and hot chocolate afterwards.
We bundled up in our warmest winter gear and headed to the square. But something was wrong. There was no music, no singing, and worst of all, no cookies.
Maybe the carol singers got lost, I suggested hopefully.
Dad chuckled and pointed to a sign that read, "Carol singing postponed due to unforeseen snowstorm."
A giant snowball fight had broken out in the square. Maybe the carol singers weren't lost after all. Maybe they were just busy winning the snowball fight. Christmas Eve morning arrived and the kitchen was, well, a disaster zone. Flour dusted every surface. A mountain of dirty dishes teetered precariously by the sink, and Mum was trying to rescue a burnt batch of gingerbread cookies.
"It wouldn't be Christmas without a little chaos," Mom said, laughing.
I wasn't so sure, especially when the cranberry sauce decided to have a mind of its own and exploded all over the microwave. At least it's festive, I said, trying to cheer Mum up.
She just sighed and handed me a wet rag. "Let's tackle this mess together, Lottie."
Wrapping presents should be an Olympic sport. It's a lot harder than it looks, especially when you have a mischievous cat, Marshmallow, who thinks ribbons are for playing with. I struggled to wrap a particularly oddly shaped present for Dad. It looked like a giant lumpy potato. Marshmallow batted at the trailing ribbon, sending the roll bouncing across the floor. "This is impossible!" I groaned, collapsing onto the floor in a heap of wrapping paper.
Don't worry, Lottie, it's the thought that counts.
Finally, it was Christmas Day. We all gathered around the table for our Christmas feast. The turkey looked a bit dry, the roast potatoes were a tad overcooked, and the gravy resembled a lumpy lake. But it was our Christmas dinner, and that made it perfect. Just as we were about to dig in, the doorbell rang.
Who could that be?
I raced to the door, excitement bubbling in my chest. Standing on our doorstep was Mr. Johnson, our grumpy next-door neighbor. He was holding a plate piled high with steaming mince pies.
Merry Christmas, Lottie. These are from Mrs. Johnson. She accidentally made too many.
After dinner, it was time for presents. The air was filled with excitement, and the twinkling lights on the Christmas tree seemed to dance in anticipation. Lottie tore into hers with glee, her eyes sparkling with the joy of the season. She had been waiting for this moment all day. There was a fluffy unicorn onesie, best present ever, complete with a rainbow mane and a golden horn. Lottie squealed in delight, hugging it tightly. Next, she found a book about a detective dog. I bet he'd be good at finding missing carol singers, with colourful illustrations and a magnifying glass on the cover. She couldn't wait to dive into the adventures of Detective Dog. And then there was a pair of socks. At first glance, they seemed ordinary, but Lottie knew better. Only these weren't just any socks. They were mismatched. One had stripes and the other had polka dots. They were quirky and fun, just like Lottie. One had stripes and the other had polka dots. The colours clashed in the most delightful way, making them truly unique.
"They're perfect!" Lottie exclaimed, her face beaming with happiness.
She exclaimed, pulling them on proudly. Mum and Dad exchanged amused glances, their hearts warmed by her enthusiasm. Even mismatched socks couldn't dampen Lottie's Christmas cheer. She danced around the room, showing off her new socks to everyone. Later, they gathered around the table to decorate the gingerbread men Mum had miraculously managed to salvage. The kitchen was filled with the sweet aroma of freshly baked cookies. Lottie's ended up with one arm bigger than the other and a lopsided grin. It was a masterpiece of imperfection, and she loved it.
He looks like he's having a good time, Dad said, his eyes twinkling with amusement.
Dad chuckled, biting the head off his own gingerbread man. The family laughed together, their hearts full of joy and love. It was a Christmas to remember, filled with mismatched socks and wonky gingerbread men. As the day drew to a close, Lottie snuggled up on the couch with Mum and Dad. The warmth of the fireplace flickered, casting a soft glow across the room. The scent of pine from the Christmas tree mingled with the sweet aroma of cookies baking in the oven. It was a scene straight out of a holiday postcard. The house was a mess. There were crumbs everywhere, remnants of the day's feasting and snacking. The floor was a mosaic of cookie crumbs, candy wrappers, and bits of tinsel that had fallen from the tree. Wrapping paper was strewn across the floor, a colourful testament to the morning's excitement. Torn pieces of red, green, and gold paper lay scattered, evidence of the joy and anticipation that had filled the room just hours before. And the Christmas tree was starting to lean dangerously to one side. Ornaments dangled precariously from its branches, and the star at the top was tilted, as if it too had enjoyed the day's festivities a bit too much. But none of that mattered. The mess, the chaos, the leaning tree, it was all part of the charm. It was a reminder of the love and laughter that had filled their home. Because even though their Christmas had been completely and utterly chaotic, with moments of sheer pandemonium, it had also been filled with laughter, love, and the kind of joy that only comes from being surrounded by family. It had also been filled with laughter, love, and lots of Christmas spirit, the kind of spirit that makes you forget about the mess and focus on the moments that truly matter, and lots of Christmas spirit, the kind that makes you smile at the sight of a crooked tree and laugh at the crumbs on the floor. Maybe that's what Christmas magic is all about, finding joy in the chaos, embracing the imperfections, and realizing that the true magic lies in the moments we share with those we love, and cherishing the moments. No matter how wonky or unpredictable they may be, it's about seeing the beauty in the mess and the love in the laughter.
As I drifted off to sleep, I realized something important. The day's events played back in my mind like a cherished movie, each scene filled with warmth and happiness. Christmas wasn't about perfectly wrapped presents or a picture-perfect dinner. It wasn't about the decorations or the food. It was about the moments in between, the laughter, the hugs, the shared stories. It was about spending time with the people you love, laughing at the mishaps and finding joy in the unexpected. It was about the way Dad's eyes crinkled when he laughed, the way Mom's face lit up when she saw the tree, and the way Lottie giggled as she tore open her presents, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. Memories of a Christmas that was perfectly imperfect, filled with love and laughter, and that I decided was the best gift of all. The gift of love, laughter, and the magic of Christmas, found in the most unexpected places.